Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and if you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. Now, if you've seen in the thumbnail, this is a budgeting video, and if you are here because you like to see just an entire budget of all the bills, all the income, all of that, then this isn't going to be the video for you. So I would definitely recommend checking out Aloha Dope or Denise Dives In, and I'll link their channels below because they do that. They do weekly, they do like a monthly budget with weekly check-ins, and they're all their expenses and their income, and they're just very thorough in explaining how those things work. For my purposes, I'm doing after my expenses or after my fixed expenses budgeting. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So this is the Erin Condren academic planner that I featured in an earlier video, and this is going to be my wellness planner for 2019. And for me, wellness is not only just both physical and mental, but also financial. And the reason I really liked this layout, even though I can tell you these coils are driving me crazy already, but the reason I liked it is because not so much of these projects and exams that they have in the front here, because I can cover that up, but more so I liked the weekly layout. So this is the current week we're in. It's currently January the 20th, and I haven't been feeling well, so I didn't fill in these days here, but I will. But I like the layout for this because I feel I can keep track of things for both physical and mental health, just to see where I am. But also at the end of the section, I like that there were blank pages. So I've actually already done my January budget. Now, it may seem strange, but I'm in my mid-40s. I'm 46. I'm going to be 47 in July. And this is the very first time I've done a budget. Now, I've been working professionally for over 20 years, and I always pay my bills. It's just what I do with the leftover money has always been, well, I don't think there's much of it, so just make it last until your next paycheck. And I think part of the problem that I've had, or part of the problem that has made me not want to do this, is because I don't own much, but what I do own is an extensive amount of debt. So I don't feel comfortable sharing exactly how much I pay for my credit cards, exactly how much my income is, or my housing expenses, or all that. I don't feel comfortable. And I know for some, they're like, let me just show you everything. But for me, that's just, at this point in my life, I just don't feel comfortable with that. That's why I said, if you're interested in that kind of transparency, then definitely check out those other two ladies, because they're really cool with that. For me, I'm really doing this as an accountability for myself. So I do feel comfortable in sharing that I have over $30,000 in credit card debt, and I have 6 figures worth of student loans. And so after I pay my monthly bills, and I know what's left over, it doesn't seem like I'm ever going to make a dent in that. And so I just sort of do the minimums and just hope that I never get really sick, or that an emergency doesn't pop up, or that I don't need a savings plan or a backup plan, because I don't have that. I don't have a savings. And I know given my age, I should be more on top of this, but I've always been lucky, I guess, where I've just managed. And for 2019 and on, I want to do more than manage. I want to do more than survive. I want to thrive. And I think I'm coming to a place where I feel that I'm allowing myself to do that. It sounds strange, but along with health issues, which I have, not as much as you would think by seeing me, but I do have. I also still struggle with self-esteem and all of that. So I think all of that plays into a role of how you approach problems, and I'm very much a non-confrontational, stick your head in the sand until it all blows over kind of person. And I don't know that I have to be confrontational, but I think I do need to focus more energy on dealing with problems because they're not going to go away. I mean, debt isn't going to go away. So for January, and I made this really pretty, and it took a while, but I'm actually only going to be doing this, at least to start, because again, I'm new at this, on a monthly basis. So what I've done was I've paid all of my credit card bills, my phone, my housing, and all of that. Medical is taken right out of my paycheck. In Hawaii, that's a thing. My bus pass, I've signed up so that they would just take it out of my paycheck, and then I just pick up my bus pass from HR. I also have a retirement plan that's automatically taken out because I don't know if it's a union thing or a state thing. I don't know what it is, but that's automatically taken out. So after all of my bills and my housing and all of that's accounted for, what I have left over is $476.13. Now that seems like, oh, you're good, but this is money that I have at the end of my second paycheck for January. And in my mind, at least the way that I'm figuring this is going to work, this needs to last me until my second paycheck in February. So I'm a state of Hawaii employee, so I get paid on the 5th and the 20th. So this $476, it's truly a leftover. All of my bills are paid, but this has to last me until then. Now, I did make some small goals, and I think small goals are good, at least for me, because I need to be able to see that I'm achieving things. So for my quarterly goals that I did on my vision goal and word board for the quarter, I wanted to do $500 in additional debt on top of the minimum payments that I'm doing, and I also wanted to save $500. And that's with this times 3, I guess, because again, for the next 3 months. And if I'm all over the place, I really, again, I've never done this. So I watch a lot of budget videos. I watch a lot of just videos in general, and they seem to have it all down pat, but this is my very first one, so please bear with me. Now, because I watch a lot of budget videos, I know that there is this mind frame that every dollar should have a purpose. And I agree, and I don't. Well, okay, let's say that I agree. Let's say that I agree. I don't want my checking account to go down to 0. That gives me anxiety. So for this account cushion, I guess the purpose of that is to help alleviate some of that anxiety. And I know that means I also have an additional $100 on top of this, but really I don't want my bank account ever to go lower than that. So I'm assuming that this is only going to be an outlay for this first month, because if I truly only want to have at least a minimum of $100 in there, then I won't spend this for the next 6 weeks or however many time that is, and then this will be there when I do this for February. I'm assuming that's how this is going to work, unless something comes up and I need to dip into that. But for me, it may not go to a bill, but the purpose of me not being anxious, I think, has some merit. On top of the bills that I pay the minimum, I'm planning to do $175 in debt payoff of this $476, and I am, as of right now, doing the snowball method. My credit isn't that great, so my interest rates are pretty much the same on all of my credit cards by way of they're pretty high. So for me, I think it might be better, at least for a completion rate kind of thing, where I can start whittling away some of the credit cards that I have, and I think that might keep me motivated, because part of my problem is sometimes I just lose motivation. So I'm hoping that this amount will help me get rid of debt. I mean, obviously it will, but also with that snowball effect will help me get rid of it in a faster method than I originally, I guess, would have done it. Now that also puts me on target for my quarterly goal of $500 in debt paid off, in addition to what I already pay. I've put spending here, and that's just my spending from the 20th of January through the 20th of March. And I don't know, 3, 4, so that's five weeks between now and then. And I really should have had this figured out before. And what I was trying to figure out was, well, how much does that give me on a weekly basis? And that gives me about $30 per week. Now, when I say spending, I mean anything. So that could be takeout, that could be coffee, that could be copay. I do have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, so that would come out of that. So I don't know if this is where it's going to mess me up, if that's too much, if that's too little, because basically I have $30 a week to live on. Now, I don't have to factor groceries in because that's already been taken out. It's part of my housing expenses, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm setting up myself for failure, if this could actually be lower. I don't know. We're going to see. This is our tester, and we'll see how this goes for me for the next few weeks. And again, I'll do a check-in when I'm setting up my numbers for February. I'm not going to be doing this every week because, I mean, I don't pay bills the way that most YouTubers pay, where they pay it on the day that it's due. I get paid at the beginning of the month, and I pay all of my credit card bills. And then the second paycheck goes towards my housing and those related expenses. And then this, like I said, is what's left over for the month. So that's why I don't need to track on what day this is due or what day this is due, because I always pay ahead of the due date, just the way that my payment, my income falls. It's just easy to do that. I just do it one day, it takes me half an hour, boom, I'm done. For savings, for this year, I did set it up where in December I had opened up an online savings account that has a 2% interest rate, which I think is pretty good. And I had put $75 in there, but that came from December. And then my first paycheck and every paycheck thereafter automatically is going to deposit $25 into that account. So this takes into account the initial $75, the $25 for my first paycheck in January, and then the 11 cents worth of interest that I have earned. This is the second paycheck of January deposit, so that's how much I have in that savings account. And I believe interest is earned at the end of the month, but I will account for that in February. Now, I was going to do set aside money from this to go towards savings, and that would have come out to, if I want to save $500, about $166 per month. Then I saw something on YouTube called the $5 challenge, and it's intriguing to me. So I went through my wallet and my phone case, because I keep money in there, I keep money in my phone case because sometimes when I'm grabbing a coffee from the coffee kiosk at work, it's just easier to just put money in there versus taking my entire wallet. So I always have some money in that as well as my wallet. So between that and my wallet, I had $30 in fives. Now, I'm not going to put a number here because I'm actually going to see where I am at the end of the month, fill this in, and then total how much I've saved or have in savings as of the 31st of January. And again, this is something I plan to carry forward from month to month. So I might make that $500. I might go over. I'm not sure. I don't know where my numbers are going to be, but just looking at what I have already, that's $175. So if I do, no, because it's not like I'm saving $125 every month. It's only actually $50 that's going in every month. So yeah, I'm not sure where the numbers are going to be, but this is what I'm doing. So I've taken savings out of this. That leaves me $0 if I account for those four things. So 476 minus those, and I get to 0. That savings has an asterisk because that is part of this down here. And again, at the end of the month, I will total out to see how much I've actually saved for January. And I did want to just put someplace here to keep focused on my financial goals at least, and that is to pay $500 off in debt and to save $500 by the end of my first quarter. And then if I extend that out for the year, that would make $2,000 in additional debt that I'm paying down, as well as $2,000 in savings. Now, that's important because I've also created this page. And again, this took a little bit of time, but it really, I think it looks pretty, which is always a good thing for me, but also it's really focusing on what is important to me. Now, I know that Dave Ramsey has a bunch of steps, and I've listed them here. And I know there's baby steps and then the full-on steps here. And the Dave Ramsey method is your first goal should be to save an emergency fund of $1,000, and then you start paying off debt. Once your debt is paid off, you want to have, and it's not an emergency, this is 3 to 6 months of expenses, if I'm remembering people's videos. Expenses. That's right, my black ink ran out. And yes, I am going to leave that just like that. And then step 4 would be invest in retirement, and then invest in college fund, I guess, for your kids, pay off your house or purchase a house, and then give money. And I think that works for a lot of people, but my focus is going to be a little different. And I know this is probably going to seem super controversial or just misguided or naive, but I don't mind having debt. And I don't know if that's just an American consumerist point of view, but I don't think that debt is necessarily bad. I think for me, what is bad is that my debt far exceeds my income, which far exceeds my living capacity, and that my debt is being or has a crippling effect on me where I freeze up and I don't want to do anything. So I don't mind having credit card debt. I don't want as much as I have, but I don't plan to just close my credit cards. So for my focus, my big financial goals is I want to save a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, as well as pay off credit card debt. Again, if I put something on a credit card, I'm not going to think I'm the worst person on the world. I don't want to pay down to 0 and then rack up another $30,000. I do want to be better at how I manage my money, but having credit cards to me is not inherently evil, just like having student loans to me is not inherently evil. It's a tool that you use to invest in yourself. At least that's how I've always thought of student loans. And since I'm in financial aid, I guess that's a good thing. But I do know that looking back on how I borrowed student loans, I did borrow way more than I actually needed. And that's on me. All of these are my own decisions. I have no children. I have no dependents. So every single bit of debt I have is absolutely my own. And I just really need to own up to it and take care of it. So these two I do plan to do in tandem. And then once I get to that level of savings, then I'd like to go more aggressive on my credit card debt. I do have, like I said, a retirement fund that's all automatically taken out. It's a percentage of my pay. So that's already taken out, but I'd like to invest more because I believe if I go by just age, I do have at least 20 years to go before I can retire. So, for those of you who are in your 20s and 30s, you know, you've got a bit of time. For me, that door is a little closer than it might be for you. So that's definitely something I'd like to do. I'd love to pay off my student loans. I don't know that that's actually doable, but again, it's on page, and we're definitely going to shoot for it. And then for the house and for the give, I mean, that's the low priority for me. Now, I do have some small savings goals, and I don't know if that's something that I'm going to take out of this, if once I have a little bit more play money, or if I have a little bit more play money, I'll focus on. But my small savings goals of things that I'd like, I don't absolutely need, is a new laptop, a new mattress, and a new camera and mount, because what I'm filming on right now is my phone, and it's great. I actually think it's quality camera work, and the editing is really easy because I do both filming and editing on my phone. But you know, if I really want to focus on this YouTube channel, I think that might help me get to the next level. I don't know, we'll see how that goes, but that's, I mean, I'm not even saving for that. I'm not doing sinking funds right now because, again, I want to do probably 3 months, the first 3 months of the quarter, and see how this works for me. If I need to put my monies in a more structured, or if this open-ended spending is good enough. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I did take out money, so for my spending, so these are all the fives I had. So this is $30 in fives, and then I have the $150. And I don't know that I'm going to put all of this in my wallet. I will just put it in a secure place here in the house. And I also don't know, because again, I'm trying this out for the very first time. I don't know if I feel comfortable walking around with a bunch of cash, and I certainly don't feel comfortable having a bunch of cash in the house. So I might just take out money on an every other week kind of basis, because that would be, if it's $30 a week, it would be $60 every 2 weeks. It's an even number. I can take 320s out of the ATM and then go from there. But for right now, this is for savings. This is my spending money for the next 5 weeks or so, if I calculate that right. And then this also goes into savings. I do plan on opening another savings account, or a savings account with the bank that I have a checking account with, so that instead of taking it out and then putting it back in, which seems kind of ridiculous to me, I can just transfer it over to my other account. I tried to open an account online, but that didn't work out. So I actually have to go to a branch and do that. And that's one of my goals for the next coming weeks, because, you know, obviously I have some money. Although, like I said, this auto deposit one isn't a separate, it's an online bank only. And it's something I can transfer back into my checking account that I have right now if I ever needed it. So it's not like my money is completely out of, but it just makes it a little harder. All right, guys, so this is my budget for January 2019, my very first budget. And if I definitely invite you to leave comments, and even if it's you're doing it wrong, you should have more money, you have too much money, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a lot to me, but for some that might, you know, be the entire amount of money that they make in a month. So I'm very cognizant of that. But I really want to hold myself accountable. And when you put it out into the internet and in the interverse, I think that's part of what you do. I will be revisiting this. Like when I do my $5 challenge total, I won't make a video for that. Unless you want me to. I mean, leave me a comment if you're interested in the $5 challenge. But I probably won't be showing the numbers again until I do a recap when I do this in February. So I'll do a 2-page spread, because it actually does have 5 note pages. So I think next month I will do so my January recap, and then February monies, and then probably do the financial goals and whatever here. I don't know. I'll figure it out by then. But I think this will really help me as a landing spot of where money's going, and if I'm actually going to make my goals that I've set for myself for this. Now, I do want to say this income is strictly my paycheck from my full-time job. I am not monetized on YouTube, so I make nothing from my YouTube channel. I do have Amazon affiliates linked below, and I don't make anything off of that. I do have a blog, that's $0, and my Etsy shop, my sales are sporadic. So I think so far for this month, I've made like $40 in sales. That is not included in here. That is in a separate business account that I opened when I opened my Etsy shops. And because the money is so sporadic, I don't really factor that in. So I guess that's sort of like a savings, but not really, because I actually have expenses coming out of that automatically for some subscriptions that I do specifically for my Etsy shops. So this again is just strictly on income based on my paycheck, and I did that for two reasons. One, because I can't count on that income, because like I said, I made like $40 for January. I think for December I ended up making like $27. November I made nothing. So if I'm looking at a 3-month picture, $60, I mean, it certainly could go for something, but then from that $60 I renewed some of my listings, and that costs money. And then I do, like I said, have some subscriptions of things that come out of that account because I have the Etsy accounts and I utilize them for that. So, you know, there's been times twice last year where I actually had to put money from my regular income into that account because it would have gone to zero. And so I don't count on it. Now, the second reason I don't count on it is because depending on how that goes, and I haven't done a lot of focus on my Etsy shops, so that is just something I need to do. But if for this next coming year I do the SEOs and I do the marketing and I do that, and I just don't have a good return on that time and investment, then I will probably close my shops and just focus on utilizing the money I have to take care of these things. So I did want to say that. So this is strictly just my job income. There's nothing else factored into this. So this is probably going to be a very long video. It's not much that I can speed through because most of it is talking. I don't foresee that the future ones are going to be as long as extended because basically I'm just going to jump on, show you what my numbers were and what my goals are for the next month. But this one, again, very first time ever in my life. I'm nearly 50. But I'm taking control. I'm taking control of my finances, and I'm taking control of the fact that this is my debt and this is what I need to take care of. So thank you so much for watching. I actually had to edit just a little bit at the end. I was watching something on television, had paused it, but then you only get a certain amount of time for that, and then the program comes back on. So I want to thank you for following me on this journey. Again, constructive feedback is good. This is what I'm doing for this month. If I need to change it up for February, I will. But yeah, I'm just figuring things out as I go along. And as always, aloha.